Welcome to Garden Wise Adventures. My name is Malie, and today we're going to take you along another bulb planting video. Now, it's a week before Thanksgiving. I'm behind on some designs. I've got so much going on. Family get-togethers coming up, and I keep asking myself, why am I doing this? Why did I order more bulbs? Why am I out here right now planting bulbs? Why don't I just give up on the garden for the rest of the year? And I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about how I keep going and how I am able to complete projects and what my motivations are in doing things. Now, I figured I probably needed to tell you a little bit about myself first. I'm a business owner. Most of my working life, I've owned my own business. I have done some accounting. And I was a single mom for 15 years. All my kids are grown. My youngest is 22. And I did it all pretty much on my own. I didn't have a lot of support in physical help. I did have family who were supportive and loving, but there was not a lot of actual physical help that came. So I've had to come up with a way to be able to keep going even when times are tough. There were times in my life where I was going to school, working, and raising kids. So I'd get up in the morning really early, get the kids all ready for school, get them to school, head to my college. I went to college when I was 48 years old while I was working. Go to my classes, get home in time to pick up the kids, do my job, get the kids to bed, and then work into the night, wake up the next morning and start over again. And so how did I keep going with that? What was my motivation? I also kept up with my yard. My yard was always really pretty immaculate. And the only way I was able to keep myself motivated to keep going was to always visualize the final product. And I used to tell that to my landscape crews. Would get to a big job that looked overwhelming, it looked horrible, the property was a mess, and they could see a lot of hard, hot work. And they would hate it. So I taught them to visualize what the end product would look like. And every time we would finish a product, we would sit there and take the time to walk through it and revel in the work that we'd done and the beauty that we created. And that's what I do with my yard, and that's what I've done with raising my kids on my own. When things would get hard, like today, looking at all my bulbs, I would wander around the yard and look at what I have accomplished so far. So let's wander around my yard a little bit and show you what I look at to give me motivation. Now, the last job that I did that was really hard, that I had to build up motivation for, was my fall cleanup. And now, it was a job that took a full day. It was pretty difficult. There was a lot of things to take out. I still have leaves to clean up, but I don't clean up my leaves until all the leaves are off the tree. And this year it's a little frustrating because the leaves are still on the trees and we don't have any storms in the forecast. So I usually try to be done with all my fall cleanup by Thanksgiving, but we do have a stretch of good weather after Thanksgiving and hopefully a windstorm, before then, so that I can clean up the leaves. But the leaves are the only thing left to clean up. And so today, before I started digging the bulb holes, I started wandering around my yard and looking at all the winter interest, and I just did a video on fall interest, and I'll link that above. But I started looking at this and thinking how beautiful it's going to be next spring and anticipating next spring. I planted a bunch of tulip bulbs here already. We've got daffodils from last year that are going to come up and prior years. And that all of a sudden got me really excited to start planting bulbs. So let me show you what we're going to plant. Sorry for it being on top of my trash can, but this is what I have right now. And I have 2 bags of bulbs that just arrived from a Facebook group called, I can't remember, something about wholesale growers. And I had ordered 80 bulbs way back last spring. And it turns out that they were only able to get me 40 of them, which was a little disappointing, but things like that do happen. It wasn't his fault, it just happened. So this set of bulbs right here is really exciting to me. This one is called Mirar, and I will put a picture of what the flower looks like on the screen. And that's another thing that keeps me going, is visualizing what these are going to look like when they start growing. So we have 20 of the Mirar, and then we have 20 of another one. It's already starting to sprout though. That's kind of scary. But anyway, this one's called Von Sion. And this is a daffodil that, I guess the history goes way, way back. And it's going to be an unusual one. I'll put a picture of that on the screen. it doesn't have a real clear trumpet. You know, they say it's kind of messy looking, and it naturalizes really easily, and sometimes it even has streaks of green in it. So I'm really excited to see what this one looks like. And then because I wasn't able to get all 80 bulbs, I decided to run around to my garden centers and see if there's any bulbs left over. And I found an Actea, or pheasant's eye, and then I found lingerie, which has a frilly golden cup, and I'll put the pictures of these on the screen. And then I also found a thalia, which was a beautiful white one. And let's go and show you where I'm going to plant these. Now I've already dug the holes, and I've put the fertilizer in it because I found that it's easier just to go dig all the holes and throw the fertilizer in, and then I can just place the bulbs in. But I'm going to put the thalia and the Actea here. I think those will be really, really delicate and pretty. And this is next to my driveway where I'm going to be driving up and see it first, so I think that's going to be a lot of fun to see those. Now I think I'm also going to put the thalia and the Actea right here. This is going into my backyard, and it's also near the area where I like to come sit in the front. You know, I put away everything because it's winter time, and I think it'll be really pretty to have those delicate flowers there. And then we're just going to line this pathway with the Von Scion and the Mirar. So now that I've wandered the yard and visualized how beautiful it's going to look, and I'm excited to plant now, let's get planting. So I'm all done planting, and I can't wait until next year. It was definitely worth the hard work, the frozen soil and the frozen hands. I definitely had to peel back some pieces of ice. But I also wanted to tell you a quick story about how worth it was to raise my kids. All the years of joy, pain, and suffering are all worth it. My oldest has gotten married and was able to purchase a house, and she actually had her brother and sister move in with her so that they could help pay for the rent while she's going to medical school right now. But the other day I got a phone call from my middle daughter, and her beloved cat had died just out of the blue for no reason. And she was devastated. It was late at night, it was around 9 o'clock at night, it was pouring rain, and I realized I had to get over there as quick as possible. They're about an hour away, but as I was driving over there, I was wondering, okay, we've got to figure out what to do with the cat so that she's not so upset, having the cat there with her. It was a weekend, of course. And so I stewed about it the whole way there. What are we going to do with the cat? It's raining, it's cold. And when I got there, every single member of that household, my youngest son, my daughter, her husband, my oldest daughter, her husband, my middle daughter, they were out in the pouring rain and had already gotten the grave for the cat dug. Everybody was helping. Everybody was showing my middle daughter love, and they got everything completely taken care of. I had purchased her a metal raised bed to put up in the spring. They helped her in the rain get it set up. There's no soil in it yet, but they got it set up over the top of where the cat is buried so that she could kind of have a memorial garden for her cat. And then when we got inside, it was around 10:30 p.m. Everybody was soaked. I was worried about my daughter eating, and my oldest daughter had already taken care of it. She had food ready for my daughter. So they've grown up into caring, kind, loving people. All those years of raising them have paid off, and I love seeing that. And the same thing happens with my garden. In the spring, when I come out here, I'm not going to remember the sheets of ice I had to pry up off the ground to plant these bulbs. All I'm going to do is revel in the beauty of them. Now, obviously, not everything ends up beautiful. There's always problems in life. Sometimes things in the garden fail. But always look for those successes. Look for the successes in your garden, look for the successes in your life, and it makes all the work worth it. And I would love to hear some successes you've had in your garden that keep you going. And I hope my videos are helpful to you. If they have been helpful, I hope you like, subscribe, share them with your friends, and go have a wonderful garden adventure.